Hello everybody. We are discussing chapter number 2 from Moments supplementary book The Adventures of Toto. This is the third meeting regarding the chapter, and we are in the last leg of the chapter. Hopefully we'll be able to complete it today. So let me mark it where we were discussing it last. It is here. We read this paragraph in the last meeting towards the end. I'll begin it from here only to re-establish the chapter in your minds. So we were discussing that how Toto would behave during cold winter evenings and how he would imitate the narrator in taking a bath, how Toto would bathe himself and how cautiously he would get into the warm water, totally imitating uh, the narrator. So let me flash myself off the screen and continue the chapter. There we go. So a great treat for Toto during cold winter evenings was the large bowl of warm water given him by grandmother for his bath. Grandmother would give the water to the narrator and Toto would share. He would cunningly test the temperature with his hand, like we discussed all this yesterday, then gradually step into the bath, first one foot and then the other, because he had seen me doing it the same way, and until he was into the water up to his neck. So once comfortable, he would take the soap. I'm reading it from the top, dear students, here. Once comfortable, he would take the soap in his hands or feet and rub himself all over. Totally means copying the same. It is called dead ringer in English. So monkeys are the dead ringers of human beings. They imitate whatever they do, whatever they see. Once comfortable, yes, it's about Toto. What Toto would do next? He would take the soap in his hands or feet and he would start rubbing himself all over the way humans do and the way narrator did. When the water became cold, he would get out, and because then it was no fun and it would rather give him shivers then once the water was cold. He would get out and run as quickly as he could to the kitchen fire in order to dry himself up. If anyone laughed at him during this performance, Toto would feel hurt, as if it was a blot on his image, and he would refuse to go on with his bath. Means he felt embarrassed and he felt shy if anyone laughed at him doing this. So one day, Toto nearly succeeded in boiling himself alive. That day, he approached very close to death. He just was about to fall accidentally in boiling water. What happened one day? The instance is shared here, dear students. Let us find out what happened that day. Okay, so it may be asked in a question to explain that instant when Toto was almost succeeded in boiling himself alive. A large kitchen kettle had been left on the fire to boil for tea, and Toto, finding himself with nothing better to do, decided to remove the lid of the kettle. Okay. Kettle, you understand, a vessel in which we serve tea or boil tea, a container. So, a large kitchen kettle was on the fire, and tea was being boiled in it. Toto, because he had then nothing else to do for himself, so he decided to remove the lid of the kettle, means the upper cover of the kettle. Finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in, because he was totally unaware that the temperature was rising gradually. But at that time it was just lukewarm, it was not boiling at that time. So it was good enough. It was moderate, at a moderate temperature, the temperature at which Toto enjoys being into it while bathing. So, finding the water just warm enough for a bath, he got in with his head sticking out from the open kettle. Now the head was out of the kettle, the rest of the body was into the kettle. This was just fine for a while until the water began to boil because he was unaware of the presence of fire underneath the bowl and that the fact that the temperature of the water was rising and very soon would turn to a boil. Toto then raised himself a little when it got a little more hot, but finding it cold outside, he again sat down. So he continued hopping up and down, moving up and down for some time until grandmother arrived and hauled him half boiled out of the kettle. Hold him out. Okay, so here hold him means pulled him out. Grandmother pulled him out half boiled out of the kettle. And this is why it is written that he nearly boiled himself alive that day. If there is a part of the brain especially devoted to mischief, that part was largely developed in Toto, as if he had completed a master's degree in mischief. Because if there is anything in our brain that is especially related to mischief, where mischief comes from, then that part was too much developed in Toto. He was the master of mischief. He was an embodiment, an example of mischief. He was always tearing things to pieces. Whatever he comes across, he just tears it apart. And it would give him unwanted joy. Whenever one of my aunts came near him, he made every effort to get hold of her dress and tear a hole in it whenever any aunt or any guests came. One day at lunchtime, now this is another instance of his mischief, dear students. One day at lunchtime, a large dish of pulao, yes, the rice, stood in the center of the dining table. They were all sitting around the dining table, and the large dish of pulao was sitting just in the middle of the table. We entered the room to find Toto stuffing himself with rice because then there was nobody around. Nobody had still come at the table. They were about to, but Toto placed himself on one of the chairs before anyone else could arrive there for the dinner. So when we entered the room, what we found that Toto was stuffing rice into his mouth. My grandmother screamed, shouted at the top of her pitch, and Toto threw a plate at the grandmother. One of my aunts rushed forward and received a glass of water in the face. Toto threw a glass of water in the face of one of my aunts. When grandfather arrived, Toto picked up the dish of pulao, that plate, and made his exit through a window along with the plate. We found him in the branches of the jackfruit tree later. He climbed the tree along with the plate, the dish still in his arms. And he remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice. Yeah, this is a tendency of monkeys that they first stuff the entire food available into their mouth and then later they enjoy and devour it slowly and gradually so that it lasts for a longer time. Means it keeps on chuckling later on. He remained there all afternoon, eating slowly through the rice and determined on finishing every grain stuffed into his mouth. And then, in order to spite grandmother means in order to tease or provoke grandmother, who had screamed, scream also means shout. He threw the dish down from the tree only to tease grandmother, only to provoke her anger further, and chattered with delight when it broke into 100 pieces. Chatter otherwise means to make noise continuously, to speak continuously, but here it is to make continuous noise. He was babbling with delight when the plate broke into 100 pieces. I think that was more than enough to provoke grandmother's anger to a fever pitch. Now, obviously, Toto was not the kind of pet we could keep for long. Everybody, including grandfather, realized that Toto was, though a lovely, mischievous pet animal, was not at all docile. Yes, initially we were asked a question if Toto was mischievous or docile. Docile is something or an animal that can be easily led or controlled. So he did not turn out at all anywhere near to being docile. Obviously, he was more than mischievous. We were not well to do means not economically strong, and we could not afford the frequent loss of dishes, clothes, curtains, and wallpapers. So grandfather found the Tonga driver again and sold Toto back to him, only for 3 rupees. So this was the chapter, dear students. I hope you liked it. Once again, let's have a look at the words used here. Halter, as I told you, is a set of straps put around an animal, around the head of an animal, to tether it. Tether means to fasten it, to tie it. Turnstile door is the door we discussed, that is generally seen at the entrance of parks and railway stations. And then there are questions. Think about it. How does Toto come to grandfather's private zoo? Yes, you can all answer the question. We have already discussed it. Toto was a pretty monkey. In what sense is Toto pretty? There can be multiple answers to this. You will try it yourself. There is no standardized answer to this question. You can write it in your own way, but yes, you can always pick some of the instances from the chapter that proves his innocence and prettiness. Why does the grandfather take Toto to Saharanpur, and how this is also clearly defined in the chapter? We have already discussed it. And why does the ticket collector insist on calling Toto a dog? This is also given. Now, question number 4: how does Toto take a bath? Where has he this we have discussed today only? Why has he learned? Where has he learned to do it from? Narrator, obviously. How does Toto almost boil himself alive one day? Here you are to share that instance, depending upon the weightage of the question. He will not get into much details if it is a 2-mark question. Why does the author say Toto was not the sort of pet we could keep for long? Now the answer is given in the last paragraph, because they were not well to do and they could not afford such frequent loss of dishes and curtains and clothes and everything. That's why they all realized that Toto could not be kept as a pet. So then there is talk about it. Do you have a pet? Is your pet mischievous? Tell the class about it. I will request, especially the people who keep a pet, this is a wonderful opportunity for them to write a description of their pet honestly and transparently. And then there is suggested reading for you. These are some books. It's a lockdown time, though you cannot probably avail the paperbacks, but if you are using a Kindle device or any book reader, you can always order these books. One of these books, Ruskin Bond, is all-time favorite. Rudyard Kipling is all famous for his Jungle Book. One must definitely read in lifetime Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling. There is a cinema based on Jungle Book, everyone knows. So let me come on to the screen quickly before I take your leave for today. So this was the chapter, dear students. Now the next question is what to do in the notebooks. I've just described. All the questions given at the end of it are to be done in the notebook, including that writing task where you are to describe your own pet. If you don't keep a pet, you can always assume. Might be you can write about your neighbor who keep a pet, right? So tomorrow we'll be starting with the very next chapter from the same book. Till then, thank you so much. Have a great day ahead.